Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 20 of Reading Lorman's Brute. When we left off last time, Gwendolen had overthrown Lochran and his mistress Astrild, and she had established herself as the ruler of Britain, and she proved to be a wise and just ruler who kept the realm in good order and kept the peace well. So we pick up just after Lorman has told us that she reigned for about 15 years after Lochran's death. And we start today at line 1262. Sethan here yef Madan an hond, al his father Kinalond, to Cornwall he ferdegain, the here father achte. And there he woonede in the Londe, the leerden weren the blithre. Madan here a son and no ma wief, there was swithe hende. Be here he have de twine sonnen, ach beine hier weren unseli. Membrits heicht de aldre, Malin de jongere. Ach furti wintre hier vader Madan mit menske heelde his rietje. And da his liefes ende kom, he wende swithe well to don. His twine sonnen he set on hond, al his rietje Kinalond. Ach da here vader was dead, the sonnen duden uvelne red. Afterwards, so after 15 years, she, Gwendolen, gave Madan in hand, so into his power or into his control, all his father's kingdom. So this is the kingdom of Lochran, which before I think I referred to her realm as Britain. That was slightly inaccurate. Technically, this is the realm of Logres, rather than Britain as a whole. To Cornwall, and this says he, but I presume it's meant to be she, because it does still seem to be talking about Gwendolen. So she went back to Cornwall, which her father possessed, and there she dwelled in the land. The people were the happier. Her son, Madan, took a wife who was very good or very gracious or noble. By her he had 2 sons, but they were both wretched, or in this case the sense is probably more they were evil or they were wicked, rather than just that they were unfortunate or poor. The elder was called Membrits, the younger Malin. But for 40 winters their father Madan held his kingdom with honour, or possibly here with justice. And when his life's end came, he thought to do very well. He set in hand, so within the power or within the control of his 2 sons, all his rich kingdom. But when their father was dead, the sons did an evil counsel. Between him Raswale and Wiene, wither hier huren beien, sleicht en muchel serwe, al voor here uniselve. Ach Membrits doe unreste, he was swieke mit dan meste. With Malin his brother he nom grieth, and behaagde to halden frieth, and zwaar he nom en die, that kom hier het drichtliche volk, to maken zacht en some, betuksen him and his brother. Adon die, that was he set, daar komen hier to sumne. Membrits hefte I nomen dat grieth, ach sone he maaked unfrieth. He doet there serwe nog, for there he his brother offsloeg, and thus he won all this land that he'd stood in his own hand. Conflict and strife arose between them. They were both hostile or enemies. Trickery or deceit and great sorrow also arose, all because of their wickedness. But Membrits did evil, he did wickedly. He was a traitor or a deceiver with the greatest, so he's among the worst deceivers. He took peace, or made a truce, with Malin, his brother, and ordered that peace be held, and so he took, or he chose a day that their great or noble lordly people came to make peace, and peace, these 2 words more or less are synonymous, between him and his brother. on the day that was set or appointed, then they came together. Membritz had taken or accepted that truce, but soon he made untruce, unpeace. He made another conflict. He did their great sorrow, so he caused great sorrow. For there he slew, and this off prefix here is intensifying, so he killed to death, he slew to death his brother. And thus he won or conquered all this land, so that it stood in his own hand. Membritz hatede al his kun, for nonnes he mequema, the riche he makede riches, the hene hine awarieden. If there was swa hachmon, that he ne durste fordon, mit attere he hine adrenkte, that he soon dead was. A wief he nom swithe hende, en a son on here he stranede. Ebrauk he was gekleped, and al he was kuth. Membrit stood an uvel work, and him eek the wurs I lump. Uvel thing him was he kweme. He forhuide al his quene. His hired men he nom to bed, and weefmen he al belavde. Membritz hated all his kin, for none was pleasing to him. The rich he made wretched, and the poor or the lowly condemned him, or perhaps even cursed him. If there was so high or great, probably in this sense powerful a man, that he, Membritz, did not dare to destroy him, he gave him to drink with poison. So he gave him poison to drink, so that he was soon dead. He took a wife, very noble, very gracious. He begot or conceived on her a son. He, the son, was called Ebrauk. He was known all throughout, so he was known far and wide. Membritz did an evil work, and always it was the worse, or the worse befell him as a result. An evil thing was pleasing to him. He forhued completely his queen. Now, this looks a lot like the word forhuen, which would mean to hack to pieces or to cut up. It doesn't seem to be that word, though, and we can say that for two reasons. One, if we compare what the Caligula manuscript has here with the Otho manuscript, we can see that in the Otho manuscript this word is forhoven, which is from the Old English forhogian, which means to hold with contempt or to hate or despise. And we can also compare this line with its source in Wace's Roman de Brut. And in Wace's Roman de Brut we have a similar situation. So Membritz does not hack up his queen. He despises her or holds her in contempt. He set aside his queen, abandoned his queen, and he took his household men, so the men of his household, his servants, to bed, and he completely left off or abandoned women. 20 year he held this land, the leerden al to herma, and sedan him matima kom, mit tenen he was gefunden, that he to wode wende, to wondere himselven, to huntjen after deren, wherefore he death solide, in don wode he funde fire an a hinde, the hunten wenden after mit muchelen here lude. Swa swithe here liethe den forth the king hem forlees, that navde he never enne of alle his monnen. He become in a bach, there he bale funde, upon an a weerde of wolfen a weerde. He held this land for 20 years, all to the harm of the people. And afterwards a time came to him. He was found with troubles or with injuries, with pain. The time that he went to a wood to wundere himself. Now, this could be one of two things. It could be the word wonder in one of its senses, which means well, it's a sense we don't have anymore, but it means disaster or destruction or ruin. And this is the sense that we find early on in Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, the line that says that Britain was filled with wrack and wonder. It doesn't mean a marvel so much as ruin. So it could be to the ruin of himself, and that is how Rosamund Allen takes this line. Or it could mean to wander by himself. Now, that is how Frederick Madan takes the line. It's also how Baron and Weinberg take this line, and that position has some evidence within the text to commend it. So when we find the verb wander, when we find that elsewhere within the brute, it is spelt like this. So that would support their reading that this is Membrit's gone a-wandering by himself. However, I'm not sure that it quite makes sense in light of the following lines, where the king does seem to have a company of people with him, even though he does lose them. So I'm going to tentatively side with Rosamund Allen's translation here and take this as ruin. So he went to the wood, and this was to the ruin of himself. He went to hunt after deer. Because of that, he suffered death. In the wood, he found a fair or magnificent hind. The hunters went after the deer with their great noise, so probably the blowing of the horns. They, the hunters, went so very much forth that the king lost them, so that he had, or he did not have, ever one. So he had not even one of all his men. He's completely alone. In a valley, there he found or suffered destruction or evil. He came upon a company, or I suppose we'd say a pack, of raging or rabid wolves. Here him to Lupen on Elchra Halva, and to Lucan then a king, and his leman to Druin, and his horse Alswa, that deerde he wiren botois, and thus fair de Membrits, that his brother Biswak, Malin. They, the wolves, leapt to him on each side, and ripped apart the king, and drew apart his limbs, and his horse as well, so that they were, both the two of them, dead. And thus fared Membrits, who betrayed his brother Marlin. Alright, that's where we'll leave off today. We'll pick up next time at line 1305. Thank you very much for listening. As ever, if you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please don't hesitate to get in touch, and you can do that either by way of the YouTube comments below or on the Facebook page that I've made for the video series, and you'll find the link to that page in the video description. All the best, and I'll see you next time.